You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
Trump's rubber stamp commission unexpectedly rejects president's plan, based on an article by Sarah K. Burris. The White House is becoming a fortified lie. Security for whom? The reporting is about offense. The politics are about control. Trump has already packed the Commission of Fine Arts with his own appointees, and the administration is pushing for still more fencing around the White House complex, now including a permanent barrier that would rise 8 to 9 feet high. That is not a neutral safety upgrade. It is a visual and physical declaration that the presidency should be buffered from the public it claims to serve. The real decision makers. The institutional power here sits with the Trump White House, the Department of the Interior, and the Secret Service, not with tourists, protesters, or elected critics trying to object after the fact. Trump fired the commission and replaced it with loyalists. That is the mechanism. The commission's chairman, Rodney Mims Cook Jr, may be offering cosmetic edits, but the premise has already been set by executive power. More barriers, more distance, more control over who can approach. Here is policy. The source gives away the pattern. Obama-era fence jumpers produced one response: a taller fence with a concrete foundation. After Jan. 6, the image of an overwhelmed perimeter became another justification for escalation. And during the 2020 Lafayette Square protest, the first Trump administration panicked hard enough to race the president to the bunker. Now Trump is renovating and expanding that bunker and adding a ballroom on top of it. That is not a secure republic finding balance. It is a political order converting public space into a defended enclosure. Misdirection by design. The article gestures at safety concerns, but that framing launders political choices as administrative necessity. It treats walls as if they were merely engineering responses instead of expressions of state anxiety and public exclusion. Eleanor Holmes Norton gets closest to the truth. The people's house is being transformed into something exclusive and fearful of its own citizens. That is the core fact here. The fence is not just around the White House. It is around democratic access. What the barriers mean. The perimeter matters because it is where protest happens, where tourists gather, where the symbolic distance between ruler and ruled gets negotiated in public. The new black chain, link fence, concrete barriers, and proposed taller enclosures do one thing very clearly. They reduce that democratic visibility. They make the presidency harder to witness, harder to confront, and easier to stage manage. That is the larger pattern. Authoritarian politics does not always begin with mass arrests or loud decrees. Sometimes it begins with a fence, a bunker, and the quiet insistence that the public is a problem to be kept outside. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article. With the automated voice of Libritz, our thanks for listening.